Welcome. This video is the first in several videos on software maintenance presented by the Institute for High Quality Software. The goal of these videos is to help developers and other personnel involved in developing software to have concrete steps that they can use to create maintainable software. So to begin, what we're going to do is define software maintenance. So what is software maintenance? We define software maintenance as the activities performed to keep software operational. So we have broken down those activities into three categories: code changes, configuration changes, and environmental changes. And we'll define each of these categories in the rest of the lecture. So let's start with code changes. What are code changes? Well, simply, code changes just changes to the software or the source code of the software. And who do you think that does this? Obviously, developers, or more accurately, they could be either programmers, right? And I can hear some people say, well, what else is there, a programmer? Or I like to call software engineers. And believe me, I think there's a difference. And we'll actually explain this more in a later lecture. So why? Why do developers need to make changes to software in order to make it operational? I think that's obvious. And most people probably know, because of bugs, or better yet, instead of saying bugs, let's say defects. Right? Defects. So that's one reason. Now there's different kinds of defects. There's defects that that absolutely have to be fixed once they're discovered, and there's some defects that don't have to be fixed right away. And as a result, you may deal with it. You may have workarounds for those defects, but then at some point, it becomes a nuisance working around those defects, and you just say, all right, now it's a high priority to fix this defect. Configuration changes. What is configuration changes? So let's talk about what's configuration. What do you mean by configuration? By configuration, we mean the following. Basically, parameters that control the behavior of the software. Okay? Now, there's another thing, right? The parameters that control the software and the software, these can be set or changed after the program, after the software has been built. Okay? That's what we mean by configuration. So, since it could be done after the software is built, you don't need developers to do that. So, you can use, who do you think? Tech support. Right? Or you can use power end users, or what I call operators. Right? So, you think about an enterprise application, and a user who understands the operating environment. Okay. Why would a tech support person or operator need to change the behavior of the software after it's built? And it could be several reasons. One reason could be to you can work around a defect. right? Another reason you may need to change the configuration is because of environmental issues. And by environment, I don't mean like, the outdoors. I don't mean like, the the biome in what you live in or the software is running in. I mean the operating environment, right? So this is operating environment. Like, for example, you may run out of disk space. So because of that, you can change the configuration to use a different hard drive to store data on. Or, maybe a database has went out, right? And so you have another database, you need to just change, the configuration so that it points to the new database. Let's look at the next category, environmental changes. So, again, by environment, I mean the operating environment. And so what makes up the operating environment? You should obviously think of the OS, right? And the hardware, the machine that's running on, right? CPU and RAM and RAM is not lowercase. Yeah, RAM. If you're, maybe it's the relational database management system you're using. It's your network. It's your, maybe it's even if the app uses a web browser. Right, I consider web browser environment. That's debatable, but at this point, it's part of your operating environment, in my opinion. And various other things, right? Now, who makes changes to the environment? Well, usually this is reserved to people who really don't care about the application itself, or maybe not even know about the application itself, just the environment. So you have system administrators, which I abbreviate, right? You have database administrators, DBAs. Ooh, look at I'm slanting as I write. You have, let's see, who are some other people you have? You think of any? Let's see. You have your network administrators, right? You even have, here's one, facilities, right? Facilities management. Facilities. Because, your environment is also like your power source, right? Maybe they have to move your, change the electrical wiring that your machines are using, right? But in any case, why? Why do these folks need to make changes to the operating environment to make software operational? Believe it or not, it could be in some cases to fix a defect. If you're relying on a certain feature of a database and let's say it stopped working and the fix is in another version, then you may have to upgrade to the next version, and that's not going to happen by the developers, because they're just dealing with the source code. Okay. Another thing is, most young people don't think about is EOL. What's EOL? End of life. Right? End of life. Right? So, using, let's say you built a system that runs on Windows 95. Well, at some point you're going to have to make some changes if you want it to still operate. Okay? Because 95 is dead. Alright. Alright. So that's all I want to say.